aquí estamos. Y ya van días y varias semanas.
He hasn't given no response, and it's been days and it's been weeks, and he hasn't said anything. Y espero logren su objetivo de la justicia a su país. Luchen por su país. Say the best sacrifice for your country. Están bloqueando el acceso. ¡Viva! Porque la Policía Federal o la autoridad nos está deteniendo el acceso y nos está deteniendo el paso para poder cruzar hacia el Zócalo, señores.
Good evening, everybody. Well, the volume right there. We got it right here. Oh, Facebook, you are really something. It's not letting me go live right now on Facebook, so I'm only live at YouTube. This, it's an unfortunate situation. So, everybody that is watching right now on YouTube, just share this video. Been having problems in the morning with Facebook, and it's so unfortunate right now what is happening with Facebook. So how's everybody doing? I'm Oscar Blue for Border Network News and America's Voice News. Try to go live right now at StreamYard with both platforms, and they did not let me. Right now it's letting me know that Facebook is not available to go live at StreamYard. So this is just holy cow, people. They don't want people to know really what is happening with the trafficking of children, the multi-billion business that they're doing right now with asylum seekers and refugee seekers, and also with the mothers that they're taking advantage of them. And all of that is happening, man. It is just so ridiculous. They're trying to normalize this situation. So stupid, really. They're trying to normalize that situation. I'm sorry for my language, but for God's sake, this is a abuse towards children. It is not just, it is not just going to the store and buying some groceries. It's not that. It's just an abuse towards children, and they don't want no people to know. How's everybody doing? God bless my country of Mexico, my city of Tijuana, and God bless the United States of America, people. We are live at YouTube only, and today we have a really special guest. If you guys want to share this video, so unfortunate that I can't go live on Facebook, but it's okay. I will continue to do this. We have a special guest. Her name is Athena Ives. She's an ex-combat veteran, and I have had Athena more than a couple of times in my platform to talk about the situation at the borders and the situation with the abuse towards minors, towards children, towards women, towards everything, sex abuse, trafficking, and a lot of people. One of the things that Athena was really emphasized about how the situation is what is happening is that a lot of these things are created as a distraction for people to not put attention to them and to ultimately, forget about the main problem that is the home abuse, the house abuse, the normal daily day on a day basis abuse. And ultimately today, what we are going through right now, that is just unbelievable what is happening at the borders, and nobody wants to call it a crisis. It's sick that people will think that, this situation, it is a challenge. People are not a challenge. They're not a trophy. Children are not a trophy. They're not a challenge. This is not a challenge. This is something that it needs to be fixed. Kids are not challenging. This is not, Usain Bolt trying to win another gold medal. That is a challenge. Saving a life and saving children and saving women from being abused from these criminals and from these evil and demonic people that they're called coyotes, that is a crisis, and that is something that to be addressed. It's just crazy. Let me bring to the let me bring to the screen my friend, my dear friend Athena. Beautiful, by the way. Beautiful Athena Ives. She is so awesome. She has a beautiful soul. And I have learned so much from how to adjust and how to overcome situations in life from her. So here's Athena Ives. Thank you so much, Athena, for being with me today.
Thank you for having me as always. I learn a lot from you as well.
We learn from each other. Let's just say that. So I wanted to talk to you about something that is really important. Share this video. First and foremost, share this video, people. Try to help me out right here. Help me out on sharing this video. It's really important for us to know what is happening. So, Athena, we talked about this for almost since I met you. It's been, what, a couple of years? I think so. Going on 2 years,
seems
huh?
like it. Yeah.
Yes, huh?
I think we all lose track of time right now because things are just insane. Yeah.
Yes, I know. And, this is, you and I, we have been, emphatically, and I'm saying emphatically because we are really passionate about what is going on with the minors, the unaccompanied minors, the abuse of children, the trafficking of children. And we consistently talk about it. You consistently talk about it in your platform, or you do your services, you do your rescued, you do your most important thing, that is the psychological effect. Now, we were talking about this before we went on this live stream, and I was telling you the post effects that this is going to have on the next generation of the United States of America, that a lot of these people are not realizing how this is going to affect the United States on the next generation. I want to ask you this question. Now, you see a camp of migrants in Mexico. This is the way I see it, right? And you tell me how it's going to get fixed, because a lot of people are not putting attention to the psychological effect and how this new generation of children that they are going to be raised practically in the United States of America and rescued by the United States of America. It is the next generation. So you see these kids that they have been abused possibly or used since Central America, South America, and parts of the world, all the way to get to the United States. They get to the United States, they get to a migrant camp, they see coyotes all their lives, all their journey, their only acknowledgement as a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old is for them to learn how to move illegally through borders, or how to run from the authority, or how to run through a coyote. They see abuse, they see drug trafficking, they see sex abuse, they see all of these horrific things. Then they get to a migrant camp. They see, possibly activists. They see how radical they are. They are learning all of this stuff. So when they get to the United States, they are mentally possibly damaged now, physically, emotionally damaged. And when they get to the United States, I was telling you, it is not prepared for this situation, because the United States doesn't know how to handle right now this situation. These are children. that you need to teach them now inside of the country how to overcome all that psychological damage that they have endure. It's going to be double the work now, because this is the next generation that is coming to the United States of America, and it's already been psychologically damaged. How do you come from that? What is your take on that? Because that is inevitably is going to be a huge effect on the next generation.
Absolutely. Well, to begin with, like we were talking about before, we have been dealing with this for a long time, and it's challenging out there right now. A lot of people are being censored. We're being cut off from sharing the truth. And it's because there's a lot of people out there that their intentions are good, but they are spreading a lot of gossip, rumors, and false information that lead to these censors and people not wanting the truth tellers to actually be sharing what we know. And I while I understand that, I come from a place where this isn't a mission. This isn't a job. I was like, oh, I want to help prevent sex trafficking, and I want to help rescue kids because I just feel that that's the right thing to do. No, this comes from a place where I was that kid. I've lived it, and I know what they're going through. So it's not, something that I wanted to do. It's something I had to, because I know what they're going through. Not all of what they're going through, but I have a very good understanding because I was abused as a child growing up. So I come from a very much different place than other people out there that are just trying to help. This isn't me helping. This is me standing up for myself. I had to become the hero I needed as a kid because no one rescued me. And a lot of that has to do with, I became very fascinated with resilience. And resilience is basically, in layman's terms, just the ability to overcome a traumatic situation or traumatic situations. So what these kids are going to face is not only language barriers, mental health issues, but we forget how much our culture impacts our resilience. That is something I have been very interested in because our Western healthcare is focusing on how Westerners view different things. So take, for example, the family dynamics. Western people view families differently than other cultures do. We have different religions. We have different cultural practices and beliefs. And all of that is going to influence our recovery and our resilience. And mental health professionals are not prepared for that in the least bit. I mean, look at the military. The military is a culture, and we still have no idea how much that impacts, how much military culture impacts our recovery. So if we don't know that, how are we going to be prepared to treat children from all sorts of different countries with language barriers in other parental figures in their life? Are they living with their parents? Are they living with their families? Are they a ward of the state? Are they foster kids? Where are they going to school? We aren't prepared for that. Teachers aren't prepared for that. And it's going to psychologically damage these kids. Not only is it, it really has a lot to do with where that kid came from. And they're from all backgrounds. So we have a lot of kids that are fleeing gangs. We have a lot of kids that were in gangs and are trying to get away from that. We have kids that grew up in, war zones and that saw violence, and it's common to them. So they aren't going to be necessarily as psychologically damaged as a kid that wasn't used to it, wasn't experienced in it. So we're going to face a lot of everything from PTSD to learning disabilities to drug addictions, and they're very prone, and they're going to be targets for gangs. They're going to be targets for they're vulnerable.
Now, I want to ask you a question. You and me, we think alike. We are not for a political party. We are not for something that is politics. This is outside of politics. In a way, I look at it, it's a really insulting to call this situation as a challenge, because these are lives, Athena. Yep. These are children. It's not a competition. It's not, I want to fix something that it was broken before and before and before and before. It's what are you going to do now? It's the problem. Why is the United States so unprepared for this? They did not know that this was coming, or they because it looks the United States right now, and it's not the United States citizens. Clarify that, because a lot of United States citizens, being Republican, being Democrat, a lot of these people want to help. They want to help this situation to be fixed. But why the United States government is so unprepared right now? Because they're trying to do the best that they can. The holding facilities, I don't know if you've seen the videos. They're for 70 people. They have 700. A lot of them there for 300. They're got like 4,000. COVID right now, it's all over the place. Infections and all this kind of stuff. It's sad to see, the United States system being overflowed, and for it's a particularly, it's a business. It's the most lucrative business right now, the asylum and refugee. But why, what is the United States needs to do in terms of these children? They need to get psychological help. They need to immediately put them on programs. What do you think that they need to do? Because it's aggravated. This is a really, really delicate situation. You and I know so. You have been under the care of children. Specifically how it is to be in these horrible situations of abuse. So more than anything what they need to do. What do they need to do? What is the system, the government needs to do?
Well, I mean, it's like starting a fire and not having a plan how to put it out. And all of a sudden, everyone's running around in chaos, and they lit the fire without being prepared. It's like instead of a controlled burn, it's an uncontrolled burn. They opened the board. They encouraged people to come here. They used it as a political means to gain political standing, and they used children and other people's lives to gain votes and to gain. I can't even. I don't even know. I get very frustrated when it comes to all the politics and stuff, and it's like, who are you? In the military, we learn operational risk management. So every time we prepare for a mission, we have to have like the safety, the food, the corpsmen. How are we going to protect these people? How are we going to provide clothing and food? And that's all stuff we have to do before we initiate something. So we already initiated something without having a disaster management plan for it. And if they were going to encourage people and talk about open borders and talk about open immigration and how people should come here, they should have been prepared for the outcome. And they weren't, and they used innocent people, they used innocent immigrants, they used innocent children as pawns for a political bargaining chip. And I mean, at this point, I don't know what they can do, because they already lit the fire, and it's just like, well, guess what? You lit the fire, and you are going to have to be responsible and take responsibility for all the casualties that you created. Stop hiding behind politics. Stop hiding behind hatred of another political president. Like, I'm so sick and tired of people not even taking into consideration how many people are going to be impacted with this. They put everyone on quarantine, and I understand that. I'm not going to argue about if COVID's real, if COVID's a conspiracy and all that stuff. Regardless, they put into laws, different, each state, of quarantine. And they weren't prepared for what was going to happen, and they still aren't. They aren't taking into consideration. When you make a decision, you have to weigh a lot of different factors. And because of quarantine, there is the highest ever increases in child abuse at home, and the hospitalization, requiring hospitalization. There's a historic decrease in child abuse reports because the mandated reporters, like school workers, after school care people, anyone interacting with children, they aren't there to see the abuse and to report it. So, and then there's been a massive increase, over 106% increase in online sexual exploitation videos
Wow,
and
that is
yeah.
huge.
There's millions a week being shared now
Holy
online.
cow.
So they didn't take into consideration any of this stuff. And I don't understand why, because they have all of these experts working at their disposal. Why aren't they consulting with them? Why aren't they asking, how is this going to impact our future? These kids are being psychologically damaged right now, including the immigrant children.
Mhm.
So we aren't prepared for that. Teachers aren't prepared for that. They're going to come in and all of a sudden, where are they going to go to school? Do they even know English? Who are they going to live with?
That's
Are they?
that's what I was about to say. Now I want to share this. Sorry to interrupt you, but I want to share this right here on the page, and you're gonna see it right now. These are the two migrant kids. Supposedly, I believe that they were dropped in El Paso. And these are children. I believe that they're from Ecuador. They were dropped at the wall. I think they're 6 years old. And I will read it in English. I try to translate in English. This is an event that just happened, I believe, in Texas. And as they abandoned two Equatorian, two little girls from Ecuador. Traffickers throw them off on the wall on the border of the United States from Mexico. The Canciller informs that through the consulate of Ecuador in Houston, they are in the plan of contingency for the health and the well-being of the children. The Canciller condones and denies this unhuman and irrational action of delinquent trafficking and illicitly with migrants and exhorts families and fathers to avoid to expose their kids into dangers that can take this immigrant of influx of migrants. This is what you're talking about right here. I just want to add to the fact, what do you think, like, for this politicians, I don't care, Republican, Democrat, what do you think their well-being of these children is going to be? How do you think they're going to be raised? How do you think that who's going to take them? Who's going to educate these kids? Who's going to take care of them? How it is, how's the trauma going to be overcome? These are children. It is, for freaking God's sake, man. I get so mad at this word, Athena challenge. Really, if the Republicans would have said a challenge, I will be completely upset. Also, I don't care of a political party. This word challenge, this is not a challenge, Athena. These are two children, 6 years old, dropped off at a wall like if it was a product, thrown off to the other side of the wall. Take care of them. I don't want no problems with them. You take care of them. Imagine. How do you think they can overcome these kind of trauma, these kids? What do you think is the solution psychologically? What is the United States government has to provide? They need to provide some kind of program, because imagine this, trying to overcome this. Your opinion on this?
Well, we can't even take care of our own.
Wow.
Our suicide rates are out of control. Our mental health care system is broken. Our education system, our foster care system is absolutely horrifying. The majority of children that are sex trafficked are from the foster care system. That there alone tells you what these kids have to face. Where are they going to go? If I don't know the story behind all this, and I don't think anyone but the people there know the story behind this, because the media sure is not very clear or truthful nowadays. So will we ever know what their background is? Probably not. And a lot of times our mental health care professionals aren't dealing with our own citizens and our own Western views and problems. And we are not even capable. We aren't even, there's a huge difference in cultures around the world, especially when it comes to children and children's lives. And I've seen some of these memes going around Children won't show up to the border. They won't travel alone unless they were trafficked. And I'm like, you don't know children then, because children around the world, maybe Western children aren't going to do it. Yeah. Maybe Western children would never do any of that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I've been to other countries where there's 6-year-olds working in a war zone, selling food at checkpoint, at some of the most dangerous points in that area. The parents are putting their kids to work. Some of them, that they're the breadwinner. The children are. So our society we don't think like that. And they're coming over and it's normal to them. So are they going to go to school? Then they feel the pressure from their families that, oh, you got to America, now you have to make it. You have to be the breadwinner. And not only is it hard enough to make it in the United States, they're going to be, they not only have to make it for themselves, they have to make it for their entire family. So they're going to be sending money home to their family. They're going, and that's where we're very different. A lot of us, once we're out of the house, we aren't sending money home to Alabama or California. We're on our own. We go to college and we're taking care of ourselves. We're going to school. We're working. We're taking care of ourselves. We aren't taking care of an entire family. So it's we have a lot to learn as far as cultures go. I think a big step in the right direction would be to talk to these immigrant children,
now
to get their stories.
Yes, this is another one that just recently happened. This is absolutely. And a lot of these people, Athena, this is the problem. We live close to each other. You live in San Diego, I live in Tijuana. It's just now it's just a wall that is between us, or a barrier, or whatever you want to call it, or a border. But we live just close to each other. You are really, accustomed to the Tijuana culture, and you know what's going on over here in Tijuana. A lot of Americans.
Yes and no. I'm not an expert.
A lot of Americans, they never saw these kind of situations like this one that I'm putting on the screen. 6-month-old rescued after being thrown into the Rio Grande, Texas DPS says. Americans are like, oh my God, this is horrible. This is just so horrible. It is horrible. But for all of you guys, it has been happening for the longest of time. Yep. Now, the thing is that social media, mainstream media, now it is exposing all of this, but they're not doing anything about it. Second, they're exposing it. People know now, but the solution is not there because they are pandering to language and they're making it look like, yes, we can do this, we can fix this, we can do all of this. These are evil people, Athena. A lot of people don't think that this kind of situation, this image is just heartbreaking. It's just horrible. And I wanted to, because the psychological matter is the thing that nobody's putting attention to. We already know that these children are being abused. We already know that these children, unfortunately, they're being, sex trade. We already know what is happening. But I want to, ask you a question. I was at Yuma. I did not record this because it was so. I told you about this experience. It was so. It impacted me in a way that, my God, I don't know if other person will be taking it, that easy. But for me, it was an impact. Mother crossing a pond with his child with a balloon on the hand. He got to the border patrol. Then the child told the mother, Mom, is this the party that we were supposed to go to? For me, there's two things right there. And I know that you have experience on this. Two things. One, it is, wow, man, the kid, what is the psychological damage that he already is going to encounter by making him believe all the way to cross a river, to put them in danger with coyotes to the other side, and make them believe that is a party, that is a piñata party, that is, a gathering with children. Second of all, the mother, for God's sake, how these mothers risk these situations I believe the psychological damage has to do a lot with what the post effect is going to be affecting the United States of America. What do you think about the mothers that they are being abused mentally by these coyotes? And ultimately, now the mothers are going. Also, it's another effect because the mothers come with the children. The mothers are going to be in the United States of America. It is another effect that the women, what are they going to do? How are they going to raise their child? What kind of programs they're going to put them on? If they're going to be eligible to work at a place, they're capable to be working at a place. Will there be programs for people that don't know how to speak the language and work at a country that they speak English and they don't know how to speak English? How they're going to take care of their child? All of these questions come to take. What is your take on that?
I think a lot of it is the other issue that we're going to face is the gender issues worldwide and how different beliefs are. We still have individuals that believe that women are inferior, that they shouldn't be working, that they should be at home, that they should be seen and not heard. And a lot of these countries are coming to the States. And there was, and I don't agree. I'm not saying I agree with the, sending our funding to, billions of dollars to other countries. But I found it ironic that the one funding that everyone freaked out about was gender inequality studies. And I was like, that's the only one I would actually agree with, depending on where that money went. But studying researching gender inequality is extremely important. And this is a prime example of why. Other people are going to come to this country and they are going to bring their cultural beliefs and their norms and their practices. And if we get an influx of people that believe and women that, allow themselves to be treated, because that's what they grew up with. They were taught to be seen and not heard. They were taught different things. And so, and the women that want to get away from that are psychologically damaged. We are. Especially if we know that we don't want this life, that we believe that we are equal. And that is going to bring a lot of other mental health problems. It's going to be a culture shock. You're going to have different cultural barriers that you're going to have to overcome. And the psychological effects are going to cost millions and millions and millions of dollars, everything from work loss to mental health treatment to medication to just the it's extensive. And
Now,
there's no go ahead.
I want to ask you something. We already know that in the communities where there's no father figure, there's a potential high rate of the kid growing up to be raised at a really bad neighborhood, to be directly to gang member for violence, all these crimes, assault with a deadly weapon, basically, assault towards women. A lot of these mothers are single mothers. They're coming to the United States of America. Will this be impacting a society because it's already in the United States? A lot of the lack of fathers is in the African American community, also in the Latino community. Also, I'm not saying the white community. Also, there's lack of fathers. It's the whole American community. There's a lot of communities that they are lacking of fatherhood. You bring more single mothers, and you bring more children into this situation that is already implemented in the United States of America, it's going to have another double impact. How do you think they can fix that? Because that is going to cost another, because a lot of these women, they're in programs like welfare, the food stamps and all that kind of stuff. And, all of these programs are going to be doubled up now because these are single mothers. They come with the idea, like you're saying, in our country, it's Mexico is not that, it's conservative by nature. And I'm saying conservative by nature, it is because it's really old school. It's like the woman has to be at home and the man has to go out and work, provide. The woman has to stay home, cook, clean, take care of the kids, educate the kids, and that's it. This kind of education, this is the thing that you're talking about. That this is the culture shock that is going to change the United States and is the adaptation that is not the United States is in shock right now because this is a change of culture. You're trying to mix a culture where in the United States all the women provide, the women are independent, they fight for their rights and la la la, all this stuff. But you can't, you get the other culture that is no, that's why men supposed to work. That's why, we need help. You need all that. Do you think this is going to affect because all these that this is an effect that is already happening in the United States. Do you think that this is going to be an effect?
Absolutely. I always have to go back to put the oxygen mask on first. We are falling apart here. We can't even take care of ourselves. And we're not prepared for this. And if we're forced to take on more than we can handle, we're going to break. It's not going to be healthy. So the best situation would be to pause, create plans, slowly process them in, and make sure that they're set up. Because if you just throw them all in, they're going to fail. But if we have a plan, if we have a mental health plan, if we have an educational system, if we have this or if we have that, then we'll be better prepared. And they will ultimately, the results will be better. But right now, we're sending teachers over to teach these kids when our kids need to be taught.
Schools are closed,
what's going to happen with them if we,
The schools are closed, Athena.
So it's like we have every right to get angry because it's like our own government won't take care of us and we're going to go and take care of other people. And I'm not saying I love that America is a melting pot. I absolutely love culture. I love all of that. But if we don't take care of our own, we won't be a country that people want to come to anymore. We're already, one of the main things that people want to come to the United States for is freedom, is a better life. And if we, start to crumble from the inside, and that's what we're doing, we're divided right now. We're fighting each other. We're crumbling. And why would we bring in more stress to that when it's just going to be bad for everyone in the long term? We have to stop and we have to have a prepared plan in order to deal with the situation, not just turning like having the kids come and handing them over. Oh, we created the problem, but we don't want to take responsibility, so we aren't going to deal with it. So we're just going to let them go.
Now, I want to ask you something because there was a post right now that we were talking about, and I am not going to exaggerate. I know people are exacerbated right now to this situation, but there's a lot of kids, minors, that they're 16, 17 years old. This is the culture thing that Athena is being emphasized. And this is really important for you guys in America to understand how this is not good for the United States, the culture change. In countries like Mexico and also Central America and South America, it is really common for a 13-year-old, 14-year-old to get married with an adult. It was really common. Their libido grows is much faster because our culture is more exposed to these kind of sexual attitudes. In terms to music, in terms to atmosphere, in terms to the whole. Our surroundings are more open than the United States of America in that particular way. I can tell you. And if you're talking about Honduras, El Salvador, and also Guatemala is way more open. The kids 15, 16, 17 years old, they think like a 20-year-old already. They already been raised into really bad neighborhoods. They understand the risk and all that kind of stuff. And a detention center in the United States of America right now, Athena, there has been rumors that, kids have been, 16, 15, 17 years old, touching themselves in a inappropriate way in front of little girls. and speculated of sexual relations. Now this is why I was a lot of the people are saying like, who's watching these kids, who's doing these kids. I don't know if you guys remember when you guys were 16, 17 years old. I don't know if you guys remember when you were young, but those are the kind of things that young kids do. The problem is who is putting all these kids together, and why all these kids are not, I don't want to use the word segregated, but I'm just saying between males and females for these kind of situations to not happen. This is why the United States is not prepared for this, and they need to do something immediate about this. But a lot of people are exaggerating about this, Athena. I think they're exaggerating about, oh, they're touching this. They're kids. They're normal kids. What they need to be exaggerating of is fixing the damn problem of these overflows and these detention centers that they're not made for 5 or 6 people. Your take on that?
Well, I don't know the situation, and it would be something I would have to learn more about. But I have been to other countries where the boys will pull out their penises and as a display of, they want to embarrass you, and it's towards women usually, and it's I'm a man, like, come, and they've said horrible derogatory things, and it's about. And they've learned that it's a generational and a cultural passed on, that you display your masculinity by doing these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And
the macho culture.
I mean, yeah, I was like extremely disgusted by it, but that's like, Turkey, Iraq, Albania, multiple countries all around the world that's what the boys did. And they were like 9, 10, 11, 15 years old. And I'm like, so if that's the case, and they're trying to, just be disgusting and to show that they're masculine, and, a lot of boys do that to try and intimidate girls and put them in their place and to make them know that they are inferior. So if that's the case, that's coming to the United States.
Wow.
And we're going to have to deal with that in our high schools. We're going to have to deal with these boys that are, used to getting away with that and not being okay. And inappropriate touching in other countries is appropriate. Here, those kids will be locked up. That will be sexual assault. And yet it's normal to them. So these kids are coming over without any Western training. It's going to be a brutal culture shock. But not only that, but what happens to the Western girls here?
Exactly.
That all of a sudden this boy from India comes up, and I'm not trying to be culturally specific here, but my experience with Indian men have been extremely negative. In other countries, They came up to me and, like stalked me and followed me home and grabbed me and said that they wanted, to pay me for sex. And that's normal to them. That's appropriate to them. Wow. So if you bring them over here and, what's going to happen to the girls here? That's why I'm saying gender studies are extremely important, because we need to slowly integrate and learn, okay, well, what are the beliefs that we need to work on transitioning and changing? We can't just all of a sudden put them into something and punish them for something that they were brought up doing, that was brought up being okay. So we not only have to face like PTSD trauma that these kids are going to face, we're going to have to face all the sexual gender inequality issues that comes with it. We are not prepared to deal with multiple cultures and their sexual beliefs. We aren't.
No. Now, I want to ask you a question, and I hate getting into this, but I need to ask you this: is the current administration is handling this like a disastrous?
Well, I don't really follow politics. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But all I've been seeing is, them promising certain things that brought certain people here, and then them not being able to follow through because they didn't have a plan. It's like false promises. It's like, oh, it's like those guys that are like, oh, I could buy you a car and I'm going to, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to love you forever. And all these false promises. And then when you actually get there, none of it's true. And they only did it so they would win, that they would get you there. And that's how I kind of feel about this administration. Is like they made all of these promises. Okay, great. That would be amazing. But are you prepared? They weren't prepared. So they made all these problems. They're the reason all these people are there. They're the reason why all this is happening. And instead of taking responsibility for their ignorance and their actions, they're blaming it on everyone else. They're blaming it on the Republicans. They're blaming it on Trump's administration. They're blaming it on, everything else but taking responsibility.
Now, I want to ask you another question because you're in San Diego. The convention center, which is a beautiful convention center. I've been there multiple times since I was a kid. I used to go to the car show. That is one of the events that is really nice to go to the car shows and see and all that kind of stuff. You can, you got the Back to the Future car right now. They put the car right there, and it's in front of Petco Park. And then you got the gas lamp all the way to the corner. It's beautiful. That area is beautiful, man. The convention center right now is being changed into a shelter for children. I believe, I don't know if you're informed of what is going on right there.
I am not. I wasn't aware.
Okay. So just so you know, the convention center has been changed. They accepted, I think, 400 and some children right now at the convention center. What do you think, Athena, that they are like in Texas, they changed a Walmart into a shelter. Now the convention center, it has changed to, I know that I'm taking you by surprise right here, but I just, you're a San Diegan. What do you think about, these places being taken over by, right now, the current situation? They are sending teachers right now to the convention center to teach the children and all this kind of stuff, give them classes. I'm not saying, oh my God, you're giving the children and you're not, but right now the schools are closed in San Diego. Children are not, going to school, but you're sending teachers to the convention center. I don't understand. Really, Athena, I'm really confused with the United States right now. I never seen the United States go through this situation. For me, before, when I was a young kid, I used to look at the United States like they resolve problems like this. It is resolved. They're just gonna, no, it's no, we don't accept. Yes, we accept. Right now is a massive confusion. And this right here, I don't know, like, what are your thoughts of these organizations turning into great, big venues, turning them into shelters now?
So when will it stop? How many are we going to take? Are we going to take in the whole world? Are we going to take in every single kid that comes? We can't even take care of ourselves. So we have to take care of ourselves before we take care of others. And to allow all these people come in, especially when we're still closed, that's insanity. That's asking for problems.
Now, this is it's just talking about the unaccompanied minors. It makes me really it upsets me a lot. It upsets me a lot because I've been telling you I don't get into that with you, into politics, but it upsets me a lot, the word challenge. For God's sake, it gets me burning up inside because these are children. These are people's life, and they want to pander to that situation and to be telling, what, oh yeah, we're trying to help, but it's a challenge. For God's sake. There's a COVID situation right now. The medical department in the United States of America thinks that it's just only COVID. They think that it's the only disease that we need to be worried about is COVID. That's it. They're not checking people if they have other diseases, if they're sick with other things. Not only that, the children also ultimately exactly the same thing. There has been cases of children being in the detention centers in Bronzeville, Athena, with COVID on the side of other kids with COVID. Under the fact that it's a culture shock that is changing all of this, Add to the fact that, there's a COVID, pandemic right now. Add another fact that you got diseases that they're coming into your border right now and into your country of the United States of America. As a combat veteran, you put on your uniform to give your life for this country. You travel the world. You received orders to go to war. You received orders to go to Middle East countries where you used to dress up and, ask for God for protection every day for you to come back to the station and be safe with your two arms and your two legs. And you can actually see, because I bet that you have seen colleagues of yours being hurt. As you have represented the United States of America with honor and with respect and with a lot of love, how do you feel your country right now as it's being undermined by all of this? And I know that I'm hitting right there on your spine because you are a Marine. You were in Marine. I know a lot of Marines. And I know Marines that they're black, white, brown, Asian, all Marines. And all Marines stand for one thing, and they don't care about Democrat. They don't care about Republican. They stand for this flag that is on the back. That is their motto. I don't care about no political party. Stand for my flag. Get out. My flag is first. My country is first. I stand for my country. As you have gave all your life for your country, how do you feel right now with this? Because it's a slap in the face to all the people that have given their time, their lives to their country to protect their sovereignty, their laws, their constitution, their children, their families, their country. How do you feel right now?
I feel that a lot of people I know that gave their lives would be pissed. They would want to come back and like they gave their life for what? Now we're tearing each other apart. We are United States. We are divided. We are all I see right now is hate and ignorance, and no one's wanting to work together to solve the issue. Put down your pride, put down your political parties, and work together to fix this problem. But that's not something that I see people wanting to do anymore. They just want to fight. They want to spread hate and stir up animosity and drama. And I don't even know what planet I'm on right now. It's embarrassing. And we're showing the world like the free country that we live in isn't free anymore. Our voices aren't free. Our opinions aren't free. Our freedom to do certain things that we've always been able to do aren't free anymore. And if we can't protect our own, it's like we're at war right now and we're losing. And now we're going to go send our troops all over the world and help fight other battles when we're dying here. There won't be an America if we keep this up. And it's not the America that, was before.
Wow. Now, lastly, do you think the educational system in the United States of America, it is prepared for this right now, that, they're going to have to build schools? Because one of the things of the globalist compact of immigration is to give education to the kids. Clearly, Joe Biden wants to sign that. He signed it when he was with Obama, and it's ultimately going to happen. Now, getting into the educational system, the only schools that I know that they teach Spanish and English at the same time are in borders, which I believe, and I'm sorry if Hispanics are going to get their feelings hurt. I'm really sorry. I'm a Mexican, but I think that it's absolutely wrong. Multicultural, to learn languages, it is beautiful, but that's why you have a Spanish class. That's why you have a French class. That's why you have a Portuguese class. That's why you have a German class. Over here in Mexico, we don't give classes in English and Spanish. We have an English class to learn English. In the United States of America, the educational system, it is how we call it over here, Spanglish. That is half class in Spanish, half class in English. That is going to transform in the next year or so because they're overflowing the borders with children right now, which they don't know the majority how to speak English. The educational system, your opinion on how is it going to change on these children?
I'm more of the I taught kindergarten and preschool for several years, both here and overseas, and
Wow.
I appreciate the bilingual schools. I think that Americans are spoiled and that we're culturally ignorant. We're very sheltered, and I think that exposing kids to that will benefit them. It will make them more culturally diverse and accepting, and it will, you'll learn more about the world. And instead of your just little bubble in the United States, but you can't do it. You have to, like any kind of any change, it has to be a gradual. And if if it's a sudden change, there's going to be serious problems. I think the bigger issue is really addressing the cultural differences and the challenges that not necessarily the language. Yes, the language is going to be a challenge, but most of the world, pretty much every country I've ever been to, someone spoke English. And it's to work in the airports, you have to speak English. Every terminal I've ever been in, even in the middle of nowhere, those really small rural airports, they always translated it into English somewhere. So I don't think that's not necessarily a problem. I do think it would benefit Western children, but addressing those cultural differences. I loved having numerous different cultures in my class because it taught the kids different foods, taught them different words, taught them, to be accepting of the different color, skin colors. And it's a joy to see them, racism it's not genetic. And to see these little kids just, it's awesome. I love it. And I think that's a big step in just loving and embracing culture.
Multicultural, the multicultural atmosphere is beautiful. Over here in Tijuana, we have been the huge community that we got in Tijuana. It's from Haiti. That we have a humongous community of people from Haiti, and now there's children that they are learning that they already have the Creole, the language that is Criollo, and also they're learning Spanish, and ultimately they're learning English. I believe that is beautiful, but I believe that I don't know if the educational system in the United States is going to be prepared for that, Athena. I don't think that they're going to. Really, it's just
we aren't.
the teachers, there's teachers, Athena, there's teachers that they don't know how to speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have a lack of teachers, an educational system in the borders, which it's going to be exaggerated. You're going to have to, I don't know what kind of system they're going to implement because it's an overflow of children. These are the side effects that I'm telling you guys about.
That's really,
yes, go ahead.
I mean, that's just Spanish. What about all the other?
Exactly.
We're not going to be prepared for every single language. I think we could, especially in California, I don't think it should be too much of a problem to find bilingual teachers. But I mean, that's just Spanish and English. We're not prepared for, every other dialect and culture out there.
Brazil,
no one
Portuguese,
is. No one is.
Yes. Now, I want to thank you so much for your always your kindness to address your certain topics. How's everybody doing? This is Athena Ives. right here, the beautiful and intelligent and gorgeous Athena Ives, ex-retired combat veteran. She has dedicated herself to help children in need, in abuse, and also trafficked children. And you know me, Oscar Blue. Now, I want to ask you a question, Athena. How's the situation right now with the abuse of women in the United States of America? A subject that quite clear, and that it's an impact right now in your country.
It really is. And especially with the latest, a lot of people are, it's hard to describe, but I think with any kind of change that happens, people fight back. So you have women that have been suppressed for years, for decades, and when they're angry, and they, a lot of them lash out. And then you have the other side, the male side, where it's like, oh, well, we need to put them in their place, and we need to have that male toxic, that masculinity that's just, it's not even masculinity. It's the opposite of masculinity. It's overcompensation, and they feel inferior to women, so they lash out and they attack and they use their strength and their strength and a lot of other things to intimidate and put women in their place. So you have a lot of domestic violence that's occurring, and that's not a man, that's a boy. Men don't beat women. Boys do. Insecure little boys beat women. They rape children. Those are insecure little boys. And men protect women. Men protect children. They respect them, and they work together with them to make a better future. They don't,
Absolutely.
but then you also have the other cultural differences out there where you put them together and it's disastrous. And it's, it's not, it's how they were brought up. So if you are brought up believing that women should not talk, that women should be quiet, that they should just be there to look at, that they are sex objects, that's how you're brought up thinking. Why are we punishing them for what they've been taught to do? We have to educate them, and we have to help them understand, and to slowly integrate making a difference and changing that ignorant, perception of how women are treated. So there has been, an increase. There's still, it's every 73 seconds, someone in the United States is sexually assaulted.
Now we
That's
have
unacceptable.
yeah, we have the audience right now jumping in from Facebook. I don't know what the hell is going on with the app, Athena.
It comes on. It's like
Facebook was not allowing me to share. Now we have 300 people at Facebook, and we have 128 on YouTube. So we got like almost 500 people watching right now. What do you think is the solution right now? This is for everybody that is watching. How's everybody doing? This is Athena Ives. We've been talking about for almost an hour. I'm sorry for the people at Facebook. The app that I use, it would not let me do double stream as I usually do, and that is YouTube and Facebook. So I'm sorry if you guys are late. You can watch the interview later. But Athena is an combat veteran from served time in the Marines. She has traveled through 70 trillion countries. I don't know how many countries she has traveled around the world. She knows everything that we've been talking about. We've been talking about the trafficking of children, the situation with children. We put two examples. We also talked about how it is going to affect the United States, because this is the next generation of children that they're going to be arriving to the United States of America. How these kids are already, psychologically affected by this, migration effect, how it is going to affect the educational system, how it is going to affect everything. Question for you. what do you? Oh, and also, if people want to ask questions to Athena, Q&A, we still have like 10 minutes. If you guys want to ask questions to Athena, go ahead, drop it in the inbox, and I'll put it right here on the screen. I'm all yours for Q&A, people. If you guys want to drop a question. So, Athena, what do you think is the solution right now at the border with the children? What do you think? What do you think, really? Because I have, my God, man,
I'm not qualified to answer that.
But what do you think that it
I
should?
didn't create the problem.
Yeah, but what do you think? What do you think that should be done as an American citizen? What do you think?
We can't take any more people without being able to protect them. You can't promise freedom and protection when you can't provide it. We cannot provide protection. We cannot provide a safe environment that is going to benefit these kids. It might be safer than the environment that they were in, but we're also exposing innocent children in the United States to that as well. So are we going to sacrifice our own and put our own children into a very vulnerable situation by allowing all these kids in? And where are these kids going to go? Are they going to be put into foster care? I wouldn't wish foster care on anyone here. The majority of sex trafficked kids are foster kids. So if we can't even protect them and we're providing false dreams for them, and they're going to come, and it breaks my heart because I want to protect all of these kids. I want to take all of them. I want to adopt all of them, but I can't because I can't provide for them. So we need to stop. We need to go investigate who is bringing all these people here, who's recruiting them, who's giving them these false promises. And we need to start addressing that issue to stop them from coming. We need to put a pause in it, stop accepting more until we can accommodate them. It's like having, go ahead.
No, there's a comment right here that they want to ask you this question, and I don't know if this is a statistic or stat, because you know about the missing children in the United States, right, Athena?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a question right here by lady Trina Gebhardt. So there are 800,000 kids missing in the United States. How many of these children will just disappear since the strict betting disappeared? Is that a correct statistic? Because I don't want to get into statistics that they are.
Statistics are extremely challenging when it comes to missing children and sex trafficking and sex trauma, all that kind of stuff, because there's a huge lack of reporting. And also with the missing kids, that 800,000, I'm not sure, I haven't looked it up yet, but that statistic would include parents that thought their kid ran away, but they were just next door. That statistic could include that child ran away 35 times. So that adds to the number. That's not necessarily 800,000 kids are missing. That's how many times a report was missing. So that's, but yeah, there is a huge question. Where are these kids going to go? Are they going, are their parents here in the United States? Are they trying to get to their parents in the United States? Are their parents back home? Who's going to take them? Is it a relative? Is that relative a sexual abuser? Is that relative even a relative? Who's going to be looking out for the well-being of that child? So that is a huge concern.
That's a huge question. And thank you so much, Trina, for that question. Barbara Williams right here gives a solution. Says, solution, anyone who sends a child alone should be disqualified from entering the United States and permanently prohibited from citizenship. Children are being raped and are dying on the trail. This actually, I don't know if I'm graphically agreeing with you, but I am going to say, something about what this kind of question. There is a pastor over here that said this, Athena. There was a mother that sent her child with a coyote. Then the child was detained in the United States of America. Then the mother went to the Department of Homeland Security and said, "I want my kid back." And the pastor was saying, this should be examined if the mother is qualified to have the kid again, because how can you send a child with a coyote and expect for the Department of Homeland Security or the DHS, or I don't know who, Child Services, to send the kid back with the mother without being examined or without examining the situation of the mother or the background? Do you think that needs to be done? Because that apparently in the past administrations, and I know which one, they were just deporting kids without examining where they were going to. And I don't know if this is going to happen again in this current administration, if they're going to start returning kids back home to the people that they were bringing them over here illegally. Your take?
I would have to. I can't really even provide, and I would have to have more information because who promised that person? There was a reason, and then there's mothers out there that would sell their own kids for drugs. But if that mother had every good intention and was told that her child would be safe, that she paid, who promised her safety? Go after that person. You'd have to find out more information, because if she was told, okay, let's say a nonprofit organization from America came, a white woman, and said, trust me, I can get your child to safety. And that's a desperate mother. They're willing to do anything to protect their child. So if they sent that person with somebody that they thought was going to be safe, and then they show up to the border and now their kid's gone and they want them back because the promises that they were told were going to happen didn't, it's situational. It really is. But I think, the beforehand, when kids would come unaccompanied, the issue was that we were handing them over to sponsors in the United States without checking who they were really. So that's more of the issue. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We can't turn these kids over to whoever. So what's the solution? We just keep them and all of a sudden we have a massive orphanage?
Yes, I absolutely agree with you, because there's a lot of activists in these migrant camps over here that they're from the United States, and they're regulating the press, but they're not regulating who's these people inside the migrant camps, who are these activists, who are these these nonprofits that are coming over here. Are they qualified? Are there people that they're qualified to be around children? Are there people to be qualified to be in a migrant camp for starters? There's a comment right here by Pam Chandler Gibbs. I'm reading comments, Athena. Just if you want to comment or not, it's on you. Okay. What a mental health do these children require? Seems they should have some major trauma due to their previous situation. We're talking about that. Can you want to elaborate to Pam Chandler?
Well, they're going to definitely need mental health professionals that not only are equipped to deal with traumatic, child trauma, but how their culture impacts that trauma. So you can't treat a child in a Western mental thought process because, for example, you're going to be treating that child as how you've been taught. So the treatment modalities are for Western treatment. And, we weren't brought up in a war zone. We didn't see, not all of us saw, people being shot on the street. We didn't travel miles and miles and miles and get raped along the way and saw horrific things. So we have to take their culture into consideration, and also what's their desired outcome. Do they want to be returned to their family? Do they want nothing to do with the family? So there's going to be a huge need for counselors and mental health professionals that are up to date and understand the impact that that particular culture has on that child, from their religious background to their family dynamics, socioeconomic status, all of that. But they're going to be facing PTSD, anxiety, depression, and schools have already shown that immigrant children have high levels of mental health issues. So we do have a lot that we're going to be facing.
Now, I want to, I believe that, I will be putting more questions before I go. I don't want to take your time, Athena, that much,
Look at
but, but, I want to ask you something, and this is, I don't know if you have seen it. Do you know the girl by the name Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
Yes.
Okay, I know. We're not for a political party. We are independent, you and me. But I want to ask you this reaction by this woman. This woman goes to a detention center in El Paso in the past administration. She goes and she cries at a fence saying the children are drinking water from the toilet. Now
At least they
she
have
is,
water.
yeah.
Sorry.
Now he is blaming that this is because of the American imperialism, that this is not a border crisis, this is a climate crisis, this is a carceral crisis, and this is not a search. Is this a border crisis in your eyes, Athena, or not?
What's happening right now?
Yes.
I think anyone in the entire world would agree that it's a major crisis for kids.
Why these people
It's a
are not
massive crisis.
accepting that, Athena? That is the thing that upsets me, because I'm over here in Mexico and I'm seeing it. And you got these people in the United States that my God, they're in political positions, then they are an influence to young kids. And they're using their mouth to cause. They are the ones that they're causing this division by not accepting the fact that there's a huge problem, Athena. This is a huge problem. It's not just a little problem. It's big. It's people being used as cattle, as being used as abused, and it's a lucrative business. What are your thoughts?
Politicians, have they ever taken responsibility for their actions? They deny. They push it off. They use situations for their own agenda. They don't really. I don't think I've ever met a politician that's really cared.
That's amazing. I want to thank you so much for being on my platform today. We've gone on an hour and 17 minutes for people. This is the longest that we have been, Athena and I, talking. It's really interesting. I'm sorry for the people at Facebook that just the feed just entered, like it was all of a sudden. It was weird, Athena. They were saying I cannot enter Facebook right here. It has an X mark, and I'm like, all right, that sucks. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, what the hell's going on? So for the people at Facebook, I apologize. It was the app. It's not me. It's the app. You guys can go watch again the interview. It's going to be posted on Facebook, and also it's going to be posted on YouTube for people to watch. I want to thank Athena for being on with me again. If you guys want to contact Athena, the floor is yours. Your social media and everything you want to say to the people.
You can find me on Athena Ives on Facebook, San Diego, and then I have my website is athenaives.com. I'm also on Instagram, athena.ives. I do a lot of just awareness and education around sexual trauma and how our resilience is impacted by our cultures and how important it is to understand that impact. And I'm not a political expert. I hate politics. I haven't been following border security.
Thank you so much.
I'm not.
You're a blessing for that. Thank you so much. Let me just tell you, you're a blessing for that.
I'm not. I don't side with any political party. I'm so tired of it. I don't even know what party I would call myself.
Thank you.
I'm independent.
Yes.
I hate politics.
You go
I care about. My political party is protecting children.
There you go.
Every culture, every kid, and that's the important part. So you can find me on there. I don't get religiously or politically involved. I think a lot of that, there's a lot of danger in that, and it's showing. It is definitely showing. And if we could all put aside our differences and our hatred and put the kids first, this planet, United States, Mexico, we would be much better off, and these kids would have better lives. We have to stop putting our own selfish, political, religious, and our own ignorance before the kids. And that's just my opinion. Actually, that's not my opinion. That's just the truth. Those are facts.
There's a website right here, Athena, that is yours. It's been posted on my message box by my manager. It says Athena Ives website, www.athena.ives. athena.ives.com. Is that, that's your website, right?
Nope. Only
Okay.
one, AthenaIves.com.
Yes, that's right. The only one. You already got it. So, God bless you all. Thank you so much. Athena, thank you so much for coming on the platform. Thank you. As always, informative, as always, beautiful, as always, really intelligent. Thank you so much. Follow
Thank
Athena
you.
Ives at her social media. Thank you, Athena.
Thank you for having me.
There you have it, people. We were, we talked for a little bit of an hour and 11 some minutes, an hour and 15 minutes. I'm sorry if Facebook didn't go through. It was really weird. It was really weird because I logged into the both accounts, and then in the sudden it was like, I'll let you in, and then I will not let you in. So it was really weird. And we did the whole thing on YouTube. Hopefully it would, overlaps to Facebook so you guys can watch it. If not, you guys can go to YouTube and watch on YouTube the whole live feed for, people that missed it. Thank you so much for this live video to Athena Ives. We were talking about the psychological damages that kids suffer after what is going to happen after the post, migration. What is going to happen, how it is going to affect the educational system, the kids, the new generation of the United States voters, of children. How is this going, how is this going to be affecting, the new generation of children? So you can follow me at YouTube as Oscar L. Blue. Also, you can follow me at Facebook as Oscar L. Blue. Also, you can follow me at I got rumble.com. You can go to Rumble and follow me as Oscar L. Blue at Rumble. Also on Instagram as Oscar L. Blue, and also at my channel at Telegram. You can follow my partner, Anthony Agüero, and also our colleague, Ben Berquam, at all the same platforms that I just mentioned, and also Will Johnson at Unite America First. God bless you all. Have a beautiful Good Friday. It is Good Friday today, so have a beautiful Good Friday. Stay safe, and like we always say, people, peace and love, because always your country's first. God bless.
Lo que necesitamos. Y ya van días y varias semanas.
He hasn't given no response, and it's been days and it's been weeks, and he hasn't said anything. Y espero logren su objetivo de la justicia a su país. Luchen por su país. Say the best sacrifice for your country. Están bloqueando el acceso. ¡Viva! Porque la Policía Federal o la autoridad nos está deteniendo el acceso y nos está deteniendo el paso para poder cruzar hacia el Zócalo, señores.